Chosen one. There are moments in life that seem ordinary on the surface, but carry a weight far greater than anyone around you could ever understand. They don't arrive with loud announcements. They don't come with dramatic signs or flashing warnings. Instead, they happen quietly, almost invisibly, in the middle of everyday life. A decision, a step forward, a moment where you choose courage instead of retreat. Recently, you experienced one of those moments. To the people around you, it may have looked small. It may have appeared like nothing more than another personal choice in the middle of a complicated life. Perhaps no one applauded it. Maybe no one even noticed, but heaven noticed. God saw the moment when your heart stood at a crossroads. He saw the hesitation, the questions running through your mind, and the quiet weight pressing on your spirit. He saw the part of you that wondered whether continuing forward was even worth it. Yet despite all of that, you still chose to move. You chose faith when fear would have been easier. And that single decision carried more power than you realize. The world often measures importance through visible success, loud achievements, and dramatic outcomes. But heaven does not measure life that way. Heaven looks deeper. It watches the quiet battles that happen inside the human heart. It recognizes the moments when a person continues believing, even while everything around them feels uncertain. That is what happened when you took that recent step. You may have felt tired when you made that decision. Maybe your spirit had already carried more weight than most people around you understood. You may have been facing pressures at work, tension in relationships, financial worries, or silent questions about your direction in life. On the outside, you may have looked like you were simply continuing your routine, but inside something deeper was taking place. You were making a choice that required courage. And when a chosen heart chooses courage in the middle of uncertainty, heaven responds. Right now, something has already begun shifting in your life. You may not fully see it yet. In fact, the most powerful changes rarely begin in ways that are immediately visible. Miracles do not always appear as sudden dramatic events. Many times they begin quietly beneath the surface of everyday life, long before the results become clear. While you continue moving through your normal routines, conversations, and responsibilities, movements have already begun behind the scenes. Situations that once seemed locked in place are starting to loosen. Paths that once looked blocked are slowly being rearranged. Events, people, and opportunities are beginning to align in ways that will only make sense when the full picture becomes visible. Right now, even if everything around you still appears ordinary, the ground beneath your life has already begun to shift. What you did recently triggered something that extends far beyond what the human eye can see. When someone who has been tested by life still chooses faith instead of surrender, that decision sends a message into the spiritual realm that heaven never ignores. It becomes a declaration that hope is still alive inside the heart, and hope has power. When faith rises in the middle of exhaustion, when belief continues even while doubt whispers, when a person moves forward without having every answer, those moments carry a weight that reaches far beyond the visible world. That is why your recent action mattered so deeply. You may have thought it was just another step, just another difficult decision in a long journey that has already demanded more from you than you expected. But in reality, that moment became a turning point. The moment when faith spoke louder than fear, the moment when trust overcame hesitation, the moment when heaven recognized that your heart was still willing to believe. And because of that moment, something has already begun unfolding. You may notice small changes first. A sense of peace appearing in situations that once caused anxiety. Unexpected conversations that begin opening new possibilities. Opportunities that appear in places where you once saw nothing but closed doors. At first, these changes may seem subtle. They may appear like ordinary coincidences, but they are not random. They are the early signs of something that has already been set in motion. Chosen one, the story that is about to unfold will help you understand why that recent action mattered so much. It will reveal how moments that seem small to the world often carry extraordinary meaning in the plans God has for your life. You are about to see how that single decision became the beginning of a shift that is already shaping your future. What you thought was just another step forward may actually be the moment that opened the door for the miracle that has been waiting for you. And as the days ahead continue, you may begin to recognize that what felt like a simple act of faith was actually the moment heaven began responding in ways that will soon become impossible to ignore. Chosen one, listen carefully, because what happened recently in your life was not an accident, and the miracle connected to it has already begun. Chosen one, before anything began to change in your life, there was a quiet moment that most people around you probably never noticed. It did not arrive with noise or attention. It did not look dramatic from the outside. To others, it may have appeared like a simple personal choice made in the middle of an ordinary day. Yet for you, that moment carried weight. Inside your heart, you could feel the tension of the decision in front of you. Something in your life had reached a point where you had to choose whether to step forward in faith or retreat into fear. Perhaps it happened late at night while the world around you was quiet and your thoughts were louder than usual. Maybe it came during a conversation where you had to decide whether to react with frustration or respond with patience. It might have appeared during a difficult season when you felt emotionally exhausted, financially pressured, or uncertain about where your life was going. Whatever the situation looked like on the outside, the real battle was happening inside you. Your mind was weighing the risks, the doubts, and the fears that had been building over time. Fear offered a familiar voice. It told you to slow down. It suggested that maybe continuing forward was pointless. It reminded you of past disappointments and whispered that protecting yourself might be safer than believing again. Fear always sounds reasonable when someone is tired. It promises relief by convincing you to stop expecting anything better. But there was another voice present in that moment. Faith did not shout. It rarely does. Instead, it quietly asked you to trust, even though you did not have clear answers yet. Faith asked you to keep moving even though the road ahead still looked uncertain. It invited you to believe that your story was not finished, even if your current circumstances tried to convince you otherwise. That invitation was not easy to accept, especially when your strength felt limited and your heart had already carried more than most people realized. Yet in that moment, you chose faith. The world often overlooks decisions like that because they do not produce immediate results. Society tends to celebrate visible achievements and loud victories. People notice promotions, financial success, and dramatic breakthroughs, but the quiet courage required to continue believing during difficult seasons rarely attracts attention. From the outside, it may have looked like you simply continued your day. Nothing about the moment appeared extraordinary to anyone watching. But heaven sees differently than the world. While others only saw the surface of your life, God saw the struggle beneath it. He saw the nights when you questioned whether your efforts were worth it. He saw the pressure you were carrying and the moments when doubt tried to settle into your mind. He also saw something else that many people around you never recognized. He saw the determination inside you that refused to completely surrender. Your decision did not have to be perfect to matter. In fact, most real acts of faith are not perfect at all. They often happen while someone is still wrestling with uncertainty. Your voice may not have been completely confident. Your emotions may have still been unsettled. You might have questioned yourself even while taking that step forward. But sincerity carries a power that perfection never could. Faith is not about flawless action. It is about a heart that continues choosing trust, even while standing in the middle of doubt. That sincerity cannot be manufactured. It grows out of the quiet strength inside someone who refuses to let hope disappear completely. The decision you made came from that place. Even though you were tired, uncertain, and emotionally burdened, you still chose to move forward. That choice became the turning point. When you acted in that moment, something shifted in places you could not see. Your decision became more than just another step in your life. It became a declaration that your spirit had not surrendered to fear. Your faith spoke louder than the doubts that had surrounded you, and that message did not go unnoticed. Heaven responds to that kind of faith, not because the action looked impressive to other people, but because it was genuine. It was the moment when perseverance, sincerity, and trust aligned together. That alignment created movement in the unseen spaces of your life. At first, nothing around you may have seemed different. Your daily routine continued. Conversations happened as usual. The same responsibilities remained in front of you. Yet beneath the surface of what you could see, something had already begun moving. Your faith had triggered a spiritual response, and the quiet decision the world overlooked became the moment where everything started to change. Chosen one, there is something important about the way heaven responds to faith. Miracles rarely begin when everything in life feels easy and secure. They often appear during the very moments when a person feels the most tired, the most uncertain, and the closest to giving up. From a human perspective, exhaustion looks like weakness, but from heaven's perspective, it is often the place where the truest form of faith reveals itself. You may remember how heavy things had become before that recent decision you made. The challenges in your life did not appear overnight. They had been building slowly over time, adding weight to your thoughts and pressure to your heart. Responsibilities continued piling up. Situations that once seemed manageable began to feel more complicated. Some days felt like you were carrying more than one person should reasonably have to handle. Yet even in that exhaustion, you continued believing. That belief did not always look dramatic. It was not always expressed through loud declarations or visible confidence. Many times it appeared as quiet perseverance. You kept moving forward even when progress felt slow. You kept praying even when answers did not seem to arrive quickly. You kept hoping even when circumstances around you gave very little evidence that things were improving. People around you may not have fully understood what you were facing during that season. Most individuals only see the surface of someone else's life. They notice the visible routines, the conversations, the daily responsibilities. What they often miss are the silent battles taking place inside a person's heart, the doubts that visit late at night, the moments of uncertainty that appear when no one else is around, the emotional weight that builds quietly over time. But God sees what others cannot see. He saw the days when your strength felt lower than usual. He saw the moments when discouragement tried to settle into your thoughts. He heard the prayers you spoke even when they were quiet and uncertain. None of those moments were invisible to heaven, even if they were invisible to the people around you. Hidden struggles often produce the strongest kind of faith. When life is easy, belief can remain comfortable and untested. But when someone continues trusting during difficult seasons, that trust becomes something deeper. It becomes proof that faith is not just a temporary emotion. It becomes a decision made repeatedly, even when circumstances make that decision difficult. That is the kind of faith that carries power. Each time you chose to continue believing instead of surrendering to discouragement, something significant was taking place beneath the surface of your life. Your perseverance was sending a message into the spiritual realm that heaven recognizes immediately. It was a signal that your spirit had not been defeated by the challenges surrounding you. Spiritual courage does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it simply looks like someone refusing to stop believing. The courage you demonstrated during that difficult season was not ignored. Heaven responds when a chosen heart continues to trust, even while walking through uncertainty. That response does not always appear instantly in ways the human eye can recognize. Often it begins quietly through small shifts that gradually grow into something greater. Your persistence created the conditions for that response. Every prayer you spoke, every moment you resisted discouragement, and every step you took despite the weight you were carrying became part of the foundation that prepared the way for what is now beginning to unfold. Those moments were not wasted. They were shaping something larger than you could see at the time. When you finally took that recent step of faith, it was not just another decision. It was the moment when your perseverance aligned with the timing God had already prepared. Your courage became the signal that the season of waiting had reached its turning point, and that is why heaven responded. The miracle connected to your life did not appear suddenly out of nowhere. It was the result of every quiet moment where your faith refused to disappear, even while your circumstances tried to convince you otherwise. Humans keep expecting miracles to arrive like fireworks, as if God needs a stage crew and dramatic lighting. Most of the time, the real shift begins quietly before anything obvious changes on the surface. Here is section 3 in complete flowing paragraphs, matching the same prophetic, emotionally engaging style. Chosen one of the hardest parts of faith is understanding that a miracle often begins long before you can actually see it. Most people expect change to become obvious immediately. They want visible proof, quick answers, and unmistakable signs that something is different. But that is not usually how divine movement begins. Very often, the miracle starts in hidden places beneath the surface of ordinary life, while everything on the outside still appears the same. That is where many people lose heart. They assume that if they cannot yet see change, then nothing must be happening, but heaven does not work only in ways the human eye can instantly recognize. God often begins by rearranging what cannot yet be seen. He moves through the unseen spaces of your life, first touching circumstances, shifting timing, softening resistance, and preparing the road ahead before the visible results ever appear. Right now, even if your life still looks familiar on the surface, something has already begun moving. The miracle connected to your recent act of faith did not start the day you finally notice it. It started the moment heaven responded. Since then, events have been quietly repositioning. Certain conversations are being prepared before they happen. Certain people are being drawn closer to your path. Opportunities that once seemed far away are beginning to move into alignment with the season you are entering. What once looked random is no longer random. There are pieces coming together behind the scenes that you cannot fully measure yet. A delay you once thought was meaningless may have been creating the exact timing needed for the next door to open. A person who seemed distant may soon become part of the answer you have been waiting for. A closed path that once felt final may not remain closed much longer. God knows how to align events with precision, and when a miracle begins, that alignment often starts quietly before it becomes visible. This is why situations that once seemed impossible can begin to loosen without warning. What looked fixed can begin to shift. What felt permanently blocked can begin to open. A conversation that once carried tension may suddenly soften. A burden that followed you for months may begin to lose its grip. A path that felt locked may start revealing a new opening where you once saw none. These changes may not all happen at once, but they will begin to appear in ways that slowly confirm that something greater is taking place. The miracle is not only working around you, it is also working within you. One of the first signs that heaven is moving is often emotional healing that begins quietly inside the heart. Before circumstances fully change on the outside, God often starts restoring the inside. Wounds that you carried silently begin to soften. The pressure that once felt overwhelming becomes a little easier to bear. Thoughts that used to spiral into worry begin to lose some of their power. Even before every answer arrives, your spirit begins to feel a shift. That shift matters. Peace often arrives before explanation does. You may begin to notice moments where anxiety no longer controls you the way it once did. The same situation that used to drain you may not have the same grip on your heart. The same uncertainty that once filled your mind with fear may begin to feel lighter. This is not denial, and it is not coincidence. It is part of the miracle. When God begins moving, He does not only change circumstances, He also strengthens the person walking through them. That is how peace slowly begins replacing anxiety. It does not always happen in one dramatic moment. More often it grows gradually. A little more calm enters your spirit. A little more clarity replaces confusion. A little more confidence rises where fear used to live. The miracle unfolds not only through visible events, but also through the quiet restoration of your inner life. As your heart becomes steadier, you become more prepared to recognize and receive what God is bringing into your future. Chosen one, this is why you must not judge the process too early. Just because everything has not changed at once does not mean nothing is happening. The miracle is already unfolding, but it is unfolding step by step. Some pieces are moving in the spiritual realm. Some are forming through timing. Some are already appearing inside your heart. And soon what has been shifting in hidden places will begin to show itself more clearly in the visible parts of your life. You are not waiting for the miracle to begin. The miracle has already begun. Now it is unfolding one step at a time. Chosen one of the first ways you can recognize that a miracle is beginning to unfold in your life is by noticing the small changes. These are the subtle signs that often go unnoticed if your focus is only on the big picture. They may arrive as minor shifts in your day-to-day routines, a phone call that comes at precisely the right time, an unexpected word of encouragement from someone you barely knew, or even a simple feeling of peace that settles over you in a situation that previously brought stress or confusion. These small signals are often the earliest markers of heaven's hand at work. They quietly prepare you for the larger changes that will soon appear, like the first drops of rain before a storm that brings new life. Sometimes help arrives in ways that you would never anticipate. A friend, coworker, or even a stranger appears at the exact moment you needed assistance, offering support that seems perfectly timed. Opportunities begin showing up in places you once assumed were closed. A project you thought was impossible starts moving forward because someone unexpectedly steps in to help. A conversation that had felt tense or strained suddenly softens, and understanding replaces conflict. Every one of these moments may feel coincidental if you are not watching closely, but nothing in the timing of heaven is random. Each one is intentionally placed a piece of a larger design that is moving behind the scenes. Every person, every opportunity, every shift in circumstances being aligned with your path, preparing you for the full manifestation of the miracle that is already in motion. Even the ordinary conversations in your daily life begin to feel different. What once carried stress or frustration now flows with clarity and calm. Misunderstandings that used to feel permanent begin resolving naturally. Words that once caused tension seem lighter, easier, and more productive. Suddenly, situations that seemed impossible to navigate no longer feel insurmountable. These shifts may appear gradual at first, but their significance is unmistakable. They are subtle markers, proof that heaven is orchestrating not just events, but also relationships around you. This is how God prepares the environment for the miracle to emerge fully while allowing you to move forward with confidence and clarity. Along with these external changes, you may notice internal shifts as well. Your heart begins to feel lighter. The weight of doubt, anxiety, or worry that has followed you for months may start lifting gradually. A sense of clarity begins replacing confusion. Where you once felt fear or hesitation, you may now feel renewed courage and hope. Situations that seemed overwhelming before begin to look more manageable. Your perspective starts to change, and decisions that once felt uncertain now feel aligned with purpose. These internal transformations are just as critical as the external signs, because they indicate that the miracle is not only changing circumstances, but also shaping the way you experience life. Your spirit is being prepared to receive fully what God is already moving to bring into your future. None of these signs are coincidences. Every small change, every perfectly timed interaction, every seemingly random opportunity is evidence of divine orchestration. Heaven is at work in ways you cannot yet see. Patterns that may appear subtle or disconnected to the human eye are in fact interconnected threads in the tapestry of your life, weaving together to bring about the miracle that has been set in motion. Every detail is purposeful, carefully aligned to confirm that the steps you have taken in faith are creating real movement. Even the smallest shifts are designed to guide you, to prepare your heart, and to show you that heaven has already begun responding to the courage, perseverance, and trust you have displayed. Chosen one, pay close attention. Notice the way conversations soften, how opportunities begin to appear, and the unexpected help that arrives at precisely the right moment. Watch how the burdens you once carried quietly begin to lift, and how moments of peace and clarity start to replace long-held anxiety. These are the unmistakable signs that your faith is being rewarded. They are evidence that heaven is aligning your circumstances, people, and opportunities step by step, preparing you for a greater breakthrough that is already underway. Every subtle signal is a reminder that the miracle is not distant or disconnected from your life. It is already here, quietly unfolding. moving toward full revelation in perfect timing. Chosen one, before the miracle could begin to unfold in your life, you had to walk through the hard seasons. These were not random moments of suffering or meaningless setbacks. Every trial, every moment of waiting, and every season of uncertainty had a purpose. Life often places challenges before the chosen heart, not to punish, but to prepare. Difficult seasons are the soil in which spiritual strength grows, and the storms you endured were not there to break you. They were there to refine you. You may have wondered at times why some of your days felt heavier than others. You may have questioned why opportunities seemed delayed, why progress was slow, or why doors that once appeared open suddenly closed. Yet each of these moments, no matter how confusing or painful, was shaping you. Every experience, even the ones that felt isolating, was building resilience in your spirit. Isolation is not always a sign that you are forgotten. Often it is the quiet place where God molds courage, sharpens discernment, and strengthens the heart to endure what is ahead. Every prayer you whispered, every effort you made, and every act of faith, even when you thought it was small or unnoticed, became a part of a larger story. Those moments were not wasted. They were pieces of a divine pattern being woven together behind the scenes. Each time you chose to keep believing despite exhaustion, doubt, or fear, you were laying the foundation for the miracle that was already being prepared. Your persistence created the conditions for divine intervention long before the results became visible. The waiting, the struggle, the moments when you felt unseen or misunderstood, all of it was preparing you for a new chapter. God was not absent during those seasons. He was actively shaping your character, revealing your strength, and aligning the circumstances that would allow the miracle to enter your life fully. What may have felt like stagnation was actually preparation. What felt like delay was divine timing. What seemed like hardship was a rehearsal for the purpose and transformation you are now stepping into. Your miracle is not only about relief from struggle. It is not simply a resolution to the problems you have carried. It is deeply connected to your purpose, to the calling that God has placed upon your life. The experiences you endured have equipped you to handle not only the blessings you are about to receive, but also the responsibilities, opportunities, and growth that accompany them. The strength you gained in the hard seasons will now allow you to step confidently into a future that requires courage, wisdom, and discernment. Chosen one, everything you walked through was intentional. Each difficulty, each period of waiting, each moment when faith felt like the only option was shaping you into someone capable of receiving what heaven has been preparing. The miracle you are entering is not just about change, it is about transformation. It is the culmination of the journey that has been quietly forming inside you. Your past struggles were not detours. They were the path that led directly to this moment. And because of the perseverance and faith you demonstrated, you are now ready to embrace the fullness of what God has been arranging on your behalf. Chosen one, the season ahead is unlike anything you have walked through before. You are entering a period of restoration, a time when what was once broken begins to mend, and the weight that has pressed on your heart starts to lift. Emotional wounds that have lingered quietly for months or even years are beginning to heal. The heaviness that once seemed permanent is giving way to a sense of calm, subtle at first, but growing stronger with each passing day. Where fear and hesitation once lived, confidence is quietly returning. Your spirit is finding its footing again, and with that renewed strength, you are beginning to see opportunities that had once seemed impossible. New ideas, solutions, and possibilities are forming within your mind, appearing in ways that feel natural, yet divinely orchestrated. You may notice inspiration coming at unexpected moments, and insight during a quiet walk, a thought sparked in the middle of your routine, or a conversation that opens your eyes to a new perspective. These are not coincidences. They are God's gentle guidance, preparing you to step into opportunities and responsibilities that align perfectly with the path He has prepared for you. The miracle that has already begun in your life is opening doors not only for relief or success, but for a deeper purpose, one that will shape the direction of your future and the impact you are meant to have on others. Your testimony, chosen one, will not remain private. The courage, perseverance, and faith that brought you to this moment will become a beacon for those who feel lost, exhausted, or discouraged. People around you will witness how divine timing works in ways they may not fully understand, and your story will inspire hope in hearts that have begun to give up. The same miracle that restores your life has the power to lift others and guide them toward their own moments of faith and breakthrough. Every small step you take now carries weight beyond what you can see. Even in this new season, patience remains necessary. Growth, healing, and divine alignment take time. Doubt may attempt to return, especially when visible change does not immediately match the movement you know has begun in your heart. In those moments, remember the decision you made when you first chose faith over fear. Recall the courage it took to keep moving forward despite uncertainty and exhaustion. That same spirit continues to work quietly within you. Divine timing is intentional. What appears delayed is often being arranged with precision so that the full miracle can manifest in the perfect season. The miracle is already growing, even when it cannot yet be fully seen. Every rearranged circumstance, every softening conversation, every new opportunity forming quietly is part of the unseen work of heaven. Protect your peace in this time. Guard your heart against frustration, impatience, or distraction. Stay spiritually focused. Your faith is not passive, it is active. By holding steady, trusting the process, and remaining attentive to the guidance that comes from God, you ensure that the unfolding miracle continues without interruption. The new season is yours to step into, but it requires vigilance, patience, and the continued courage to believe, even when the path is still partially hidden. Chosen one, you are being prepared for far more than temporary relief. This season marks the beginning of lasting transformation. The doors opening before you are not merely opportunities, they are gateways to purpose, designed to expand your impact, strengthen your spirit, and bring to light the fullness of the life that heaven has been arranging for you. Step forward, protect your peace, and continue walking in faith. The miracle is unfolding, and it is preparing you to thrive in ways that will leave a lasting mark on both your life and the lives of others. Chosen one, never forget that the miracle you are experiencing did not begin by accident. It was activated the moment you made a choice to step forward in faith, even when fear whispered that it was safer to stay still. Your recent action carried power beyond what you could see at the time, and that power set in motion a series of events that heaven has been aligning carefully ever since. The miracle is not something distant or abstract. It is already moving quietly, rearranging circumstances, opening doors, and preparing your future in ways that will soon become unmistakably clear. Even if the full picture is not yet visible, trust the process. The unseen work of God is unfolding step by step, and your faith is shaping the direction of your life. Each prayer, each courageous choice, and each moment you refuse to surrender has contributed to a chain of divine alignment that will bring results according to God's perfect timing. Remember that miracles do not always arrive in sudden bursts. They often unfold gradually, like streams carving their way through the earth, building momentum quietly before the full force of change becomes apparent. You are chosen. You are guided. You are held by a purpose far greater than the challenges you have faced. The courage you have shown, the faith you have maintained, and the perseverance that has kept you moving forward are all proof that you are walking in alignment with a divine plan. Heaven is not distant from your life, it is actively working in ways you cannot yet fully comprehend. Your steps of faith continue to matter more than you realize, and they continue to set the stage for what is coming. Keep walking forward, chosen one. Protect your peace, guard your heart, and continue trusting that every moment of courage, every decision made in faith, and every act of persistence is being woven into a greater story. Let your confidence grow in the quiet knowledge that God is actively orchestrating the events, people, and opportunities that will bring your miracle into full view. Your journey is far from ordinary, and the blessings unfolding in your life are both a reward for your faith and a preparation for the purpose that awaits you. If this message has touched your heart, take a moment to affirm it. Comment below to declare your belief in the miracle that is already moving in your life. Share this message with someone who needs hope and encouragement today. And be sure to subscribe so you can continue walking alongside stories of faith, divine purpose, and the miracles that are quietly shaping lives. Chosen one, the journey continues, your miracle is already in motion, and your faith will continue to guide every step forward.